Hey everyone, it's Jimmy here from My Online Guy with another episode of the Mentoring Mondays section of My Online Guy, which is essentially where I help members of the audience just unpack their marketing questions. You know, it's very hard in the SMMA space, especially to get good advice. And if I can help people by just giving a bit of my time, that's what I hope to do. So if you want to be on with me and spend an hour having a chat and having someone with a little bit more experience answer your questions, just leave it in the comments below. Reach out to me, and we can tee it up like Amiti did here. So, Amiti reached out, and we had a conversation. He's just getting started in the SMMA space, but I'll let him explain a little bit more about himself, and we'll just start to unpack some of his questions. So, why don't you introduce yourself?
Okay, so my name is Amiti Goldstein, and I've been I started looking into SMMA and stuff about 5 months ago, and I've gotten deeper and deeper into it, and I decided to it's okay. So I decided okay, it's fine. So I've been having a lot of issues with my niche and stuff, and picking here and there, and I just kind of want to start from the bottom, and just get the best advice I could get, and just go forward with it as much as I can, and hopefully over time I'll be able to go more and more and succeed more and more.
Yeah, and that's a really good point. I think space is very bad for the fact that there's a lot of people that see the end result, and there's a lot of information about the end result, but there's very little information about the middle bit. And hopefully with enough videos and doing this, people can just piece together what needs to happen. So we're talking about starting again. So we've had a bit of toing and froing, and we're basically going to start from the beginning and start in a way of how someone would start an SMMA properly, in my opinion, so that they have the best chance of succeeding long term. So, there's courses out there like Imran Ghazi's and bits and pieces like that. But it's all about, quick money, fast money, just moving through. Yep.
My brother,
we want to.
He actually bought the course, and we were able to do something where he shared it with me somehow. I went through it, and it's all fake work. They make you think you're being productive, and you're just chasing. You're doing work, you're doing all this and that. They give you website templates that don't matter and all these things, and it's just I need to get away from it. So I'm doing enough.
Yeah, busy work sort of thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So I always think the best place to start with any endeavor online, especially agencies, is deciding on a niche and deciding on the first place to land and plant your flag. Because without clearly defining who your niche is, then you have no real chance of targeting them. And it's a principle. It's a marketing principle outside of SMMA. You've got to know who your avatar is so that you can really pounce on that avatar. And I feel like it's a bit people just skip over, or they do it very superficially. They go, okay, I'm going to target real estate agents. But actually, that's only the surface level of the targeting you should really do. You need to really understand who, what, when, why of these people and what makes them tick. Because if you can't understand what makes them tick, then you can't target them. And you can't use their words. You can't control, you can't understand their pain points well enough so that you can offer them a solution that's a painkiller as opposed to just something that's, a Panadol sort of situation. So, I think that's a really good place to start. So, let's talk about, let's unpack this a little bit. So, where have you landed on a niche so far? What is your initial thoughts on a niche?
My initial thoughts, first of all, when we first started the Imran Ghazi course, he obviously says, pick something, that you want, that a little bit about. And my father is a real estate agent. So I decided to pick, the real estate niche, even though it's super oversaturated. And I didn't really like it. I thought I wanted to do something else because everyone's in it. So then I decided to go to home improvement, and I was like, okay, I need to niche down even more. So I thought about just a garage remodeling, but I realized there was a lot of issues with that I just can't do it because physically I can't. Because when I go, I have school, I have after school I have like swim and stuff like that. And by the time I'm done with everything I need to do and I can start work, everyone is closed and I can't do cold calls. And even if I try to do like, cold outreach, then they don't really answer and no one is really on like social media too much, at least from what I found on Facebook.
So there's a solution for that, because that comes up a lot. Obviously, you've got school, there's other people that are working full-time jobs, which is effectively the same situation. So one quick and easy way to get over that barrier, because like any niche is going to have that issue. Most people work 9 to 5, especially businesses. One way to get over that is to target a completely different time zone. So if you're in the US, target Australia. If you're in Australia, target the US. Because it's first world countries, we have the same values, ideals, and offers. And when you're waking up, they're going to bed, and when you're going to bed, they're waking up. So you could do your schooling and your commitments, and then from like say 7 o'clock till 10 o'clock at night, or 6 till 10 o'clock at night, you could be getting them just as they're getting out of bed and getting ready for the day.
That's good.
So that could be a really good way to target that, because if you limit it to, the thing is, you've got to ultimately make it work around your lifestyle. Like as you develop the agency, and you say you get through school and you've got the agency going, you want it to be working around your lifestyle. But at the start, you also need to get wins on the board, and you've got to hustle a little bit. So, you could, as a strategic plan of attack, you could go Australian market to the US market once you're out of school and you're ready to take on things, because you'll have a whole bunch of history that you can take into that phase, which will make it way less competitive. So why the home improvement niche, and why garage installation specifically? Like what was your attraction to that?
Well, my initial thoughts on it was, I don't know, I guess I have like respect for people who do like the work and like build the houses, build like the garages, do the epoxy floor and get their hands dirty. And I want to, kind of like, I guess, connect with them, because they have a lot of, masculinity and traits that I want in myself, so
yes.
I want to surround myself with people like that.
Perfect.
That's
perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, that's as good a reason as any. Don't let anyone discourage you from doing a niche if it's for personal reasons like that, because it's really, when it comes down to a niche, there's, from a superficial top level, like back of the envelope calculation, there's really a few things that make it valuable. I like to target big project-based work, because businesses will only pay a certain proportion of the total sale for lead acquisition and marketing efforts. So like if you're targeting, say, med spas, and their sales are only $100, well, for every lead that you give them, they're not going to give you $100 if they only make $100 in revenue. So
they'll give you like
it needs
10%-ish.
to be 10%. Yeah, 10% generally there. They might give you $10. They might give you $8, because they've also got it. That's gross margin, gross revenue. Let's say they lose 60% or 50% of that to gross profit, to overheads. They might be only making $50 gross profit. If they're making $50 gross profit, and then they're going to pay you $10 as well, it's a big chunk it's 20% of their gross profit for every lead. Now, not every business thinks like that, but that's the long and short of it. So targeting big ticket projects is good, because a project is more valuable to someone, and there's generally they generally won't have the issue of getting too much of it. So like if you target someone, say a plumber, you target plumber and get them leads. If you get them 200 leads, they might turn around and go, "Oh, that's enough. I can't handle anymore." Whereas with big projects, because they don't convert as high, they're always wanting shots at big projects. So like a garage remodel might be like $10,000-$15,000, let's say, for instance, or $10,000. They may convert 25% of them, but they might be willing to pay $100, $200 for that shot, because they know if they get it, they're making $15,000, $20,000, and you're never going to get them enough of them, because if they get more, there's enough margin in a $10,000 remodel to hire more people. Whereas if you're doing jobs for $50, $100 at a time, there may not be enough margin to hire another person to help. So
That's true.
So that's why I do like the trades and services space, like your remodeling and kitchen remodeling and stuff, because of that. The other thing that makes a good niche, in my opinion, and this is something that people don't talk about, they talk a lot about how do I find the garage remodelers, which is actually the easiest part of the process. There's so many ways to find the businesses to work with, but people don't think about the other end of the spectrum and going, where am I going to find the customers for this guy? Because for you to make money, you have to find them customers. And that's the bit that everyone misses, is like, okay, well, it's all good and well to work with a real estate agent, but you need to be able to get the customers to them. And that's where, so I'm like unpacking your one specifically. So like garage remodeling is good in that aspect, because if someone's typing in garage inspiration, garage remodeling, there's a whole funnel top to bottom of where you can pluck people out of that to point them to your person. Whereas if you're working with, say, I don't know, med spa owner, they may not be searching. They may search med spas, but they also may just be going to referral networks, referral networks. They may be just asking on Messenger. They may be asking your friends. So how do you interrupt that pattern? You have to use something like Facebook. Now, Facebook is becoming less and less effective. You can't target as accurately. You can't clearly define your audience unless you have a big list. And is a customer that is wanting you to get leads going to have a big email list of people you can target? Maybe, maybe not. But I always found it's easier to work with businesses where you can clearly define your target for the service delivery, for the business, so they can do their service delivery on them. So that's from a garage niche. So there's two types of people, like two types of services, really. You got intent-driven services and impression, like interruption-based services and referral-based services. So garage remodeling fits into like intent, because if someone's wanting a garage remodeled, they're explicitly going to do searching to find that. So they might be searching for inspiration on garages. They might be searching for ideas. They may ask their network, but most people won't have someone they know that does garage remodeling in their immediate circle of friends.
So they're
like probably going to have to go and...
Yeah.
Yep, 100%. Because you don't just know a garage remodeler. It's like very rare that you're going to have a friend that knows that. So you're just going to start searching. On the flip side, something like a real estate agent, Google ads don't work that well for it, because most people will go to their referral networks and go, do you know a good real estate agent? Or they've gotten a flyer in the paper or a flyer in the news in the mailbox. And that's why ads work reasonably well for that. But they're two different types of audiences. You can't target them the same way. I just found that it's a lot easier to target people with intent, because you can clearly define who they are, and you can you're closer to getting a call, you get closer to getting a action from them than someone that needs an impression-based offering. So like we're ticking boxes off. So garage, high tickets, so big projects. They won't ever not have enough leads, in my opinion. The market may be smaller for it, but it's a lot easier to define those people and clearly find them from top of funnel to bottom of funnel. So a lot of people focus on the bottom of funnel and go, oh, okay, well, if someone's searching garage remodels, run an ad. A lot of people do that. But the riches in this stuff and where you get the really, really good results is targeting further up the funnel when it comes to communication. So if you really focus on a niche like that, you can start to explore ways, okay, well, people are looking for garage remodeling inspiration. Create a website that you control that has pictures of garages and like ideas about garages and things like that, so you can capture people further up the funnel. So you can start to funnel those people so your cost of acquisition is lower, and then you can charge a higher rate for them because they're better qualified. So that also plays into niche as well. Is like, do you have more than one way of capturing delivering the service to the end user, to the garage person? Then you get into psychographics and demographics, and say, let's say a garage niche. we need to like determine who within that niche you want to work with, because they're not all the same person. They're not all exactly identical. But inside a niche, there's different types of people. You got some people that have kids. You got some people that don't have kids. You got some people that want to make as much money as possible. You got some people that want to build a lifestyle for themselves. You got some people that have 20 staff. You got some people that just work from your own. So we need to now determine within that niche, who are we targeting that that gives you the best chance of where you are now of converting them into a customer. So like I look at myself, for instance, right? And
Yes.
okay, well, my best chance of converting someone is probably finding someone that has kids, is working with someone with kids, because we have something in common and I can, relate to that. And probably working with someone that's ambitious, because a lot of the ideas and concepts that I have from a marketing perspective are very abstract sometimes. So working with someone that's ambitious will allow me to, they'll be more open, and they won't ever get to the point where they have enough leads, because I always want more. They always want to get more and more.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're wanting something that's completely turnkey, it may make more sense to target a very specific type of person that's like, oh, I just need like 5 or 6 leads a month, but I won't complain at all. If I get that, I'm just going to pay you month in, month out. There's merits to both, but they may only need like 6, 7 leads a month because they're by themselves. So you may charge them more for those leads because there's less of them. But, if you get it for them, like you might go, okay, well, at the start, I'm going to target people that don't need as much volume, because I don't have the resources to get someone 100 leads a month. I only have the resources to get someone 10 leads a month, because I'm going to have to manually do this at the start. So you may focus at the start and go, I'm going to target people, one-man bands, or one-man, maybe someone like an offsider to help them, that is doing this as a lifestyle business that only needs a few leads a month. Because then your offer changes. Why that's really important, and where I see a lot of people fail, especially when it comes to outreach, is that their offer doesn't align with the psychographics of the person they're trying to target. So they'll go, I can get you 100 leads a month, and the guy's like, well, I don't want 100 leads a month. I want to work 4 hours a day. So if you went to them and go, well, look, I can get you the leads, and that will allow you to spend more time with your family, or allow you to spend more time doing the things you enjoy, then that might be the painkiller for them, because they're trying to work out a way so they can spend more time with their family or whatever. So it really does, the person you target really does change the offer that you offer them.
So I need to know who I'm targeting. What's their emotional, I guess you could say, thing they want, and just how, if I could, deliver that to them, and just should I be honest with them about it, and just be like, hey, I could. Let's say they want to spend, more time with their kids. And I'll be like, I truly do. Let's say I have a good service, and I do believe I could get them, way more, less work. And then I just tell them, listen, I think with my service, I could actually help you get, more time with your kids and your family. You don't have to work as much as you do. So would you want to hit that point, or is it too much, I guess, you're unfamiliar.
No. It's at the end of the day, you're offering them leads. It's how you package that. It changes. It's the skinny you put over the top of the avatar that changes. So it's still fundamentally you getting them leads, but just their values align better with something else as an offer. Now, what I'll do, I can't bring it up because it's pretty proprietary, but what I'll do is I'll read out how granular you need to get with this stuff, because I practice what I preach with this stuff. It's not just me saying that you need to do this. I've done this myself for the landscaping niche, right? So if you just give me a second, I'm just going to read out how granular you need to get. And this is your homework. I'm going to send you a few documents after this. And this is your homework. You need to really define this before you even think about the offer, because everyone wants to put the cart before the horse, offer, start outreaching. But you do a little bit of diligence now, it makes it everything else so much easier to achieve, because you know very clearly who you're trying to, what you're going to give them, and it becomes a painkiller. Because like most people in the marketing space, they're not offering painkillers. They're offering like just a Panadol. Like it's not a big enough pain for them that they'll do it forever. They'll just do it until it's not a pain anymore.
So painkillers, I understand.
Yep. You need to offer something so compelling to them that they can't live without it. Because you got to think, as a business owner, there is so much that you need to spend money on to run a business. So the person's trying to justify, when they're talking to you in the sales call, they're trying to justify taking that $1,000 a month or whatever you're charging, and taking that away from something else that requires the money in the business. Like that's the way people that run businesses on the other end are thinking about this stuff. They go, well, I'm paying this guy $1,000 a month. What if I need that $1,000 a month? What if I need to pay for this? What if my tools break down? What if this breaks down? So you've got to give them such a compelling painkiller type offer that they go, wow, I can't live without this. And if you can't do that, then you may sell, you will sell, but you won't sell anywhere near as much. So this is my target. This is the target that I have for my business, for the niche of landscapers that I target with an offer specifically for them. So our target customer is males between 25 and 45 who have started a transactional project-based small business with a minimum of 1 to 5 staff, who are working large hours and are time poor. They're ambitious and spend a portion of the day upskilling and listening to podcasts, and they watch their business. They watch business coaches like Gary Vee, or may not have a business coach. They may also read and listen to books about self-improvement and business. They're hungry to scale their business, and may instinctually know what's required to do, but they don't have any free time to execute. They know what they need to do in marketing, and they may already be doing it. But the main reason that they know they need to do marketing and are already doing it. The main reason they have done marketing is they believe that making more money leads to more customers, and if they get more customers, they need more leads. But they don't exactly understand that marketing. They don't exactly understand the marketing, but they do understand it's important. They've been ripped off by someone else, or are not happy with their current provider, and are willing to pay for a premium for things to be done properly and right the first time, much like how they do their actual work.
So after a long period of time of just... Okay, yeah.
Oh, no, you're right. You keep going.
Okay. So after a long period of time of just, talking to a bunch of these people and, that potential clients and defining all these specific things, I'll be able to understand more and know what I'm looking for more and more over time, correct?
Yeah, because the problem you'll run into long term is, once you get good at this, you'll have this problem of like having too many leads. And then you have to be able to clearly define who you want to work with. Like when you first start, it's like take whoever, because you need to pay bills. But as you get on and you start to build a team and have resources, you start to go, actually, I only want to work with a specific type of person because they give me the least headache, or I make the most of them. So what clearly defining this audience does, it's like, okay, well, I know who the exact person I'm trying to target is. I know what they look like in my head. Okay, well, I can craft my offer around specifically for them, no one else. And that will just naturally attract those people. So you don't have to go as broad with that, but you do have to have a clear idea in your head who this person is. And it helps if you know someone that you can go, yep, this is Johnny. If I could find 10 Johnnies, that's all I need to do. Or if I can just find 20 Johnnies, that's what I need to do, because they're the kind of people I want to work with. They're the people that I like, that I feel like I can help the best. Because, again, a common misconception in SMMA especially, and it's just agencies in general, is that people think they can help everyone. You can't help everyone. And, there's people that I can help that you can't help, and there's people that you can't help that I can help. And that's why there's so many agencies out there, because what separates all these agencies, we all do exactly the same thing service-wise. But what separates them is the people that are communicating this stuff. Because there's a whole cohort of people that I just mentioned that will be, if you and I are in a sales pitch and I come up against you in that specific demographic, I'm going to beat you. I'm going to outsell you 10 to 1 because it aligns a lot better with my values. Whereas your values might be aligned slightly differently. Let's say the person's younger, or the person is looking, whatever that demographic is. They may not have kids. And I start talking about kids and they go, well, I hate kids. I don't want them anymore. And you're like, well, we won't be talking about kids if we're working, sort of thing. You've got to play to your strengths. Not everyone is the perfect package, right? When it comes to like what a client wants. So you got to play to your strengths and go, okay, well, if I'm young, the advantage I have is that I can work harder and faster, and I can work harder than someone my age because you're willing to put in the effort. You're hungry. You've got the stamina. So like there'll be people out there that are looking for someone that's just really hungry and wants to do it, do it to a level that no one else will do it for them. That might be the demographic. So we need to clearly define who that demographic is, at least in somewhat. It doesn't have to be that granular, but you need to know what age they are, the things they like and don't like. Ideally their fears, what they want to do, their fears, their what they think about life, their values, and then doing that allows us to start crafting an offer that can specifically target that type of person. So that's definitely the first step. So I think that's gonna require a bit of time outside of this call to be able to do that.
Yes, of course.
Because it's not that took me about 3 hours to do. It's four paragraphs, but it took me 3 hours because I was really thinking about it. Because I don't want to waste time, and I don't want to waste time with people on calls that I don't want to work with. So I was like, okay, well, if I spend time working this out, then there's less chance I'm going to get on a call with someone that doesn't align with my values. It's self-serving, but it's, and at the start, to be fair, you'll be working with people that you probably don't want to work with. But if you don't prepare and mentally prepare for that, then you will have to do this at some point in the future, and you'll probably have to do it when you're busy. And when you're busy, it won't be done properly, and the cat's out of the bag. Whereas if you do it from the start, then you can just build your business around that model. So that's definitely something we're going to have to do. I'll send you a sheet, and I'll put the sheet in the description. I'll link to it as well if anyone else wants it. On like the things that, like the dot points that you would need to ask yourself if you're trying to determine this. Now let's talk about resourcing for a sec. So give a bit of, let's talk about the other part when you're starting an agency, which is resourcing, time management, logistics, because I see a lot of people, especially younger guys, who are like, I can work, I'll do school and then I'll do another 12 hours a day after that. It's like, that works for about 3 weeks. And then it's like, actually, it's all too hard. So let's talk about your commitments and then work out what would be the best use of that time, because you've got a lot of stuff that you need to do. And sometimes having a bit of a plan of attack of going, oh, well, need to spend a portion of your day doing this, portion of the day doing that. So talk through your day, what your average day looks like.
Okay, I'm in school. I'm a sophomore, and I wake up, I go to school, and then throughout school I might have a study hall where I would try to get work done, like anything done, whatever I need to. And after school, I have swimming twice a week. And after that, let's say around 6, I can start working. Now, I've thought this out for a very long time already, and I can get to a maximum of 6 work hours a day if I reduce my sleep to 6 hours a night. So, and I do believe I could be consistent with that, because I think that is something I'm willing to sacrifice, 2 extra hours of sleep a day, in order to get me closer to being where I want to be. And usually I believe 6 hours a day is more than enough. And on Sundays, I would have the whole day. And I cut out like all the distractions. Like up there, I have a thing, it's like a monk mode thing. And pretty much I don't have YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, none of that. And literally I put myself in a position where if I'm not doing work, I'm not doing anything. I'm just sitting around. And I have to do work that way. And this way I get myself to be consistent with 6 hours a day at least.
Yeah. So I have differing thoughts on this. I have the luxury of experience, right? And a bit of age.
Teach me.
Yeah. Do you know what CrossFit is?
CrossFit, yes, I do.
Yeah. Okay. So now I'm gonna have to remember his name because I haven't seen him in a while. Matt Fraser. Matt Fraser, right? Is one of the greatest of all time when it comes to CrossFit. And he says that his secret weapon and the reason he's so successful in CrossFit is sleep. People think that you can sacrifice sleep and still achieve optimal performance. And it's just not the case. You need an absolute minimum of 8 hours of sleep a day. So that, like, at 6 hours of sleep a day, it'd be different if you worked maybe as an operator of a machine and you just like pulled a lever all day, but you got school, man. You got to get through school. Like, you know, the skills that you learn now will amplify anything you learn at school. So like school's important. So like we need to make sure you're getting at least 8 hours a day of sleep. Like a human cannot function on 6 hours a day of sleep will reduce your life by about 20 years. That's the long and short of it. So we don't want to do that. So 8 hours of sleep a day. So that gives us 4 hours a day. 4 hours a day is, if you spent a full 4 hours a day doing work, is more than most people will do. Because most people, they spend 8 hours doing something, but they spend 4 hours of it messing around. Because people don't understand this, that you can look at the fact that you have 4 hours a day as a disadvantage, or you can look at it that I actually have a constraint that will require me to work very focused and very consistently in that 4 hours. Yeah, efficiently. So I always do that anyway. When I time block things, so I do time blocking as time management, I'll always shave off 15 minutes at the end so that I have an artificial constraint that forces me to go, I only have 2 hours to do this. I better get cracking. So if you have that, you go, well, look, I've only got 4 hours of solid work a day. At the end of that 4 hours, everything goes off. I go to sleep. It forces you to work faster, because you'll just be like, oh, I've actually got to get stuff done, because if I don't do it in this, I've got to wait another 12 hours before I do it, or 16 hours. So having it's actually a detrimental thing to say, oh, I've got 15 hours a day to do it, because you'll only be actually doing productive work for 6 hours of it if you did have 15, and the others will be just like, oh, I'll go to the toilet, I'll mess around, I'll quickly do this. As much as you can be disciplined, it's just how it works. So I would say focus on 4 hours a day, because you don't want to you need to set realistic goals too. You don't want to set it up so you fail because it's like, oh, I'm getting tired, and then you get to irrational thoughts and you give it up because you're like too tired to, your grades are dropping and your parents have something to do. So say about it. So 4 hours, right?
Okay. And I'll take that to heart. I'll do 8 hours of sleep. Okay. You
got it. Like, that is the worst thing you can do for you. And this is advice to anyone that's young. That is the single worst thing you can do is make your lifestyle 6 hours a night or less. It's one thing to have a spurt of like doing a couple of nights where you're doing 6 hours. That's not going to have any effect. But like having 6 hours a day of sleep. So the minimum amount of sleep you need to function as a human being is 4 hours. If you have 4 hours of sleep, you can still function as a human being. But they reckon it's the same as feeling drunk. You'll have the same reaction speeds. You'll have the same cognitive function as someone that's heavily drunk.
You know, it's the same with getting 6 hours sleep. It's not that much better. I take sleep like incredibly seriously, but just like the urgency in my mind is just telling me I need to spend like as much time on this. But I guess you're right. You know, sleep is way more important than, you know, just getting some extra work done that wouldn't even be too productive. And this way, I'm also putting a cap on what I can do in that time frame. So I have to do something productive.
Yep, 100%. So. Yeah, so 8 hours, right? Because like getting an extra 2 hours if you're tired is not going to help you. You're not going to be productive in those 2 hours anyway, so you might as well just sleep. So priorities, right? So I see this a lot, and we don't want you to go down this path. We see this a lot where people are like, okay, well, I'm starting an agency. I've got to worry about what it looks like. I've got to worry about the website. I've got to worry about my social media presence, things like that. It's like, actually, there's a hierarchy of importance when it comes to starting an agency. Once you've got an agency and it's coming along, then you got to go back and do some of this stuff. But like, you have one goal, right? And that's to get clients. That's your number one priority. Everything else is secondary to that. So if you're doing things that don't help you get a client, and not superficially like building a website, that has no direct ROI on getting you getting a client unless you're bigger. I'm talking about like direct actions that help you towards that. So you need to make sure that those 4 hour blocks, so you need to sit down. So the next week, you're going to be doing 4 hours a night. You need to sit down with a journal or a calendar and note when you feel the most productive. So if the Sunday is the day you feel the most productive because you've got a full day and you can focus on it, then and say like during the week you don't feel as productive, then do all the cognitively heavy tasks on Sunday and do all the busy work on the other days. So let's say, for instance, like this niche, developing the niche and deciding on niche requires a bit of cognitive function. Either save that for earlier in the night or save that for a Sunday. Now, as far as like priority of what you need to do, there's 2 things that you need, or let's think about it. So there's 4 things you need to get clients. You need to know who you're targeting. You need a good offer. You need a way of targeting them, and then you need a sales process. With those 4 things, you'll be able to get any client at least to a stage where they're going to buy from you. So that needs to be our focus. Those 4 things. What you do with those times requires a little bit more unpacking. I think that would require a little bit more time than we have today, and I think we do it on another call. Unpacking what makes up those tasks, because it's really important that once you're in the trenches and doing the work, that you only focus on acquisition. You don't worry about service delivery until you actually get a client, because some people are like, oh, worried about getting a client, how do I do Facebook ads and stuff? It's like, you don't even have a client yet. Just focus on getting one first and then worry about the acquisition once you're there, because there's so much information on how to acquire a client, do the service delivery, that getting the client's actually the hardest bit of it. So I don't want any of your time spent on going, how do I do Google ads? How do I do Facebook ads? How do I set up a website? How do I do this? It's like, if it doesn't help you in one of those 4 hour areas, then it doesn't require your time. It doesn't get any of your time. Not until you at least have one client. And then once you get one client, we need to add a 5th one in there, which is service delivery. But until then, what we got? Niche, we've got offer, we've got outreach, and we got sales process. Those 4 things. And ideally, in those 2 things first need to happen before those 2 things. But then once those 2 things go, those become the 2 priorities. So the offer can't come without the niche, though.
That's true.
But once we have the niche, we can work out what the offer needs to be based off what your current skill sets are, based on what the demographic is and what they like. We can sort of start to work towards an offer, and then we can go from there. But right now, focus on getting 4 hours of sleep. Start to, it's hard at the moment because you're going to run out of things to do, but you really need to hone in that niche. Once you've got that niche, let me know. We'll review it. We'll jump on another call. We'll review it. Okay. And then we'll start to unpack it and what an offer is. And then that's when the meat comes into it, because the offer should take, if it was like 60 minutes, the niche is like 5 minutes of it. The offer is like 55 minutes of it. People don't spend enough time on their offer. They go, I'm just going to get you leads, and if you don't get them in this amount of time, then I'm going to give you your money back. And then they get people that say no, and they're like, oh, why are you saying no? It's too good to be true. It's like, I'm giving you a guarantee. It's like, well, it's not what I care about. It's like, it's not just leads. It's, it's like, if it was just leads, then all these people, these Imran people doing like Imperium Agency, Imran Ghazi's course and stuff like that, if I turned around and said, I'll get you 100 leads, and if you don't, I'll give you your money back. If it was just about leads, everyone would do that. But it's very rarely about leads. It's about the leads. The leads are the feature, the actual tangible offer and benefit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And we need to have an offer that articulates that well, because your offer is the foot in the door. And if your offer is not good, then you won't get appointments, because your offer is generally what gets them to book appointments with you. So my offer, right? I started off, going leads and leads. My offer is actually about helping people get consistent flow of leads, so that if a recession hits, they're going to survive it. That's my current offer. If anyone wants to copy it, please feel free to. You won't beat me, but it's basically I go to businesses and go, look, we will set up a foundation that will help you in good times, but also help you survive in bad times, because right now it's super busy. I understand that. You've got enough more leads than you can handle, but what happens if it gets quiet? What is your plan if it gets quiet? You need to have this sorted before it gets quiet, because it's going to get quiet. And if you're not prepared, you've got people, again, 25 to 45, they've got a family, they've got commitments. You've got commitments, you've got a family, you've got to look after that. So my offer is like actually painkiller, because they don't want their family to go, they don't want to go broke, they don't want to lose their livelihood. So what I'm offering is a painkiller, and their pain is the fear of what's coming. That's why it's very, very specific. Because you wouldn't be able to come up with that if you didn't know your demographic well and you didn't know your niche well.
Because you knew your demographic, you knew that the people have a family and they have something to worry about. So you said, okay, I'm going to do my offer in a way where I could help them in tough times and good times.
Yep. And really, I don't have a guarantee. I don't have, a lot of people talk about needing a guarantee in SMMA. I don't have guarantees, because my guarantee is the conviction that I offer. And I spoke about that last week. Is like, the only time you need a guarantee is if you can't pass on conviction, or that if your offer is not strong enough. And people generally equate the strength of their offer to the strength of the guarantee. But
that's true.
It's not always the case. In some cases it is, like in some commoditized markets, it's just about getting lead volume and people just care about that. They don't care about anything else. But in other niches, it's about what is, most people don't do the trades and services because most of them have all the business they can handle. But that doesn't mean it's going to be like that forever. So that's how granular we need to get. And your offer might be slightly different because of the people you're targeting with your offer. They might be newer, they might be hungry, they may need leads. But then the offer might be like building consistent flow of it so that you can make strategic decisions in the future. Or you can, get a consistent flow. So like this is where most people stop. They go, I'll get you a consistent flow of leads. That's where most people stop. We need to get to the point where it's like we will get you a consistent flow of leads, because having that will painkiller solve the pain. So we will get you a consistent flow of leads, because having a consistent flow of leads will give you stability, and stability allows you to make better strategic decisions like hiring new people. So if you're a new business owner, that's what you're thinking about. So it's like, actually the pain is that I'm overworked. Well, if I hire more people, that will solve that pain. And to be able to hire more people, I need to make sure that I have income coming in and out. To get income coming in and out, I need more leads, and I need them to be consistent month in, month out. So I immediately become a painkiller. And then the guarantees, what guarantee can you offer that? It's like, if it doesn't happen, it'll give you money back. But like most people will be like, actually, that's the pain. You're solving it. If you can do that, we're good to go. So yeah, that's definitely, it all comes down to knowing your niche.
Okay, so now that I know, like, kind of, what I need to decide, and let's say I have 4 hours every day, and like the whole day Sunday, and in that time, so right now you just want me to focus on finding the niche.
Yep. So what I want you to do, no, because you'll get through that. What I want you to do once you've done that is I want you to start practicing talking. You're quite articulate, but like I said in the last video, the reason I'm able to think on my feet so quickly is because I've done a lot of talking. It's something that you just practice and you get better at. So I want you to spend a disproportionate, like an hour a day, even if it's an hour a day.
Okay.
Making videos. You don't have to post them. You just need to be consistent with it and go, actually, I'm just going to make a Loom video talking through how I came up with the niche that you just give to yourself. Something where you can see yourself talking. Make an hour video about like breaking down a website, or things that you've skilled. Make it a journal for yourself. That's all it needs to be. But you need to practice talking, because at some point you will have to communicate, whether it's in the way you do your outreach, whether it's on your sales calls. you will have to communicate through voice. Very rarely you're going to close a big deal by just through email. You're going to have to
I
talk
want to
to
communicate through voice also. I want to get better at this as much as I can.
Yep, and it's a secret weapon. It's why we close so much business. It's because once I get on the phone call with someone, I talk with so much conviction that it becomes my guarantee. So, again, it's about doing things that move you closer to getting clients. Well, I think as a good use of your time, if we don't have an outreach method yet, because we'll determine that based off what our offer is. Communicating. Practice communicating. See if there's someone that you can practice, because you don't have someone to sell yet, right? So I would just practice, spend an hour a day, half an hour a day, getting on Loom and just talking about different topics. So you get comfortable talking on your feet. That's the secret. Politicians do this all the time. You get a politician, they're up on the stand, and someone asks them a hairy question. They're really, really good at thinking on their feet and coming up with an answer. So the only way you get like that is you talk about topics that you're not super familiar with, and you ask questions to yourself that you don't necessarily know the answer with, and see if you can articulate a response.
Okay.
And that's generally because what will trip you up when it comes to sales calls is getting asked a question that you're not prepared for. You've got to be able to articulate some kind of response to that. So do that. Hour a day, just get on Loom, talk about what you've done for the day, talk about things that you've learned to yourself, like you were having a conversation to yourself. Don't have to post it or anything, just record it and just get used to your own voice, get used to how you talk, and then you can start to practice adding spacing and adding pausing into it, inflection, all the stuff that makes it really powerful and impactful.
So during my week, I guess, of 4 hours a day and a lot of hours throughout Sunday, I'm gonna mostly just figure out my niche and then do an hour a day of Loom. Now I think what if I picked my niche already and I did I'm still doing the one Loom per day? Do I just contact you and tell you?
Yeah, just let me know. I think we try and get on a call before then, and we'll try and get you your offer sorted so you can start to practice your offer.
Okay.
So once you got a niche pinned down, just let me know and we'll try and tee it up before Sunday. And I think use Sunday to try and hone your offer in. Mm-hmm. If Sunday's the day you can work, I would spend half a day to a day on my offer.
Yeah,
that's how important the offer is. It's everything. Your offer is 99% of the battle, because if you can't get your offer right, then you won't get the foot in the door. And if you don't get the foot in the door, then you won't ever have a chance to sell anyone anything.
Okay.
Excellent. Now I do have to go. I've got another call, but so plan of attack from here is go off. I'm going to send you these documents once I finish the next call. You're going to pick a niche. You're going to define who that person is. You're going to and you're going to give reasons why you picked it. From there, hour a day, practice talking, just talking through your day, talk journaling, talking, about different things you've learned, whatever.
I have a quick question though for the end.
Go for it.
I currently have high level and I'm paying for it per month, and I want to know if I should just cancel it and then maybe just go and make a new account with something else, because
no,
I
just
said a whole
message
thing.
them. Just message them and just message them and say you want to pause it. They will do that. So because that's what I do with my higher levels. They just go, well, look, I'm not generating leads at the moment. Can I pause it? Yep. So just message their support and go, look, I don't want to cancel, but can I just pause it for a month? Because I'm just reworking come up with some excuse that makes sense, and they'll be happy to. They don't want you to leave. But this is that cart before the horse. Is like high level is good, but it only amplifies what you do. So if what you do isn't good, it's just going to amplify bad processes and bad niches and bad offers. And to be fair, we don't like from the agency perspective, the clients we use high level, but like from an agency perspective, we don't use it because it's like the offer's good. You don't need all the extra follow-ups and stuff. And we can talk about that in a little bit detail because I find that people use high level as a really, really good excuse to not actually do the sales. Because it's like, oh, I need to set up Go high level before I do sales. It's like, no, you don't. You can get 100K in 8-month agency without Go high level. It's like, it's a good way to go down the rabbit hole and consume a heap of time. And you've probably found that with high level, yeah?
Yeah. You could just go forever trying to do systems and processes, and
yeah. It's like it's that busy work. It's a good way to keep busy, but it's not. It doesn't tip the needle unless you have some kind of process to feed into it that actually works. Mm-hmm. So you need to it's like a lot of things. Like you need to understand. You need to have a foundational understanding of the approach before you start throwing tools on top of it to amplify it. So if you don't have a system that works without Go high level, whacking Go high level over the top is not going to do anything. You need to have a fundamental understanding of the system and the approach you're going to take, so you can go, okay, well, how do I make Go high level make that easier? So like with me, right, I have a clearly defined process that I do. If I was to use Go high level, I would just use that to automate the process I have, not try to use it to build a process. It's like, okay, well, I need to send these follow-ups. At the moment, I do it manually. Well, Go high level can do that automatically. So I would like adjust Go high level to work with what I'm doing so that it amplifies the process. So anyone that's setting up Go high level before they have niche, offer, sales process, and sales, like a sales ability, turf it. It's a very expensive tool that doesn't provide you any value unless you've got some kind of process to feed into it. And people want the tech and stuff, but like, this is the thing. If you're only getting a couple of appointments a day, it's overkill for what you need. So yeah, man, that's my thoughts. And there's nothing against Go high level. I think it's a great tool. I just think that people use it. The amount of questions and things I see about Go high level, and compared to the amount of questions I see about people trying to learn about what niche to pick and what their offer should be and stuff, as a ratio, it's like 10 questions about Go high level for every one question about an offer. And it really should be the other way around. It should be like, how do I hone my offer and how do I make my offer better? How do I test my offer? How do I experiment with changing my offer? Not going, oh, how do I add this in Go high level? Why doesn't this work in Go high level? Oh, well, how many clients have you fed? Oh, I haven't got any clients yet. It's like, well, why are you worrying about Go high level? Get a client, then worry about Go high level.
That's true.
You know, so that, yeah, it's just, I don't know what other gurus and stuff say, but I don't know where they push Go high level because they make an affiliate commission on it. But yeah, it's just counterintuitive to focus on Go high level first when you should be focusing on what you're selling and getting that right and getting conviction in that, and then go, oh, yeah, well, actually, I have the resources now, I have the time and energy to focus on Go high level and get it to work exactly how I need it to work based on what I understand of the market, not what some snapshot tells me I need.
It's true.
But anyway, that's my thought. So don't worry about Go high level. Tell them to pause it.
Okay, I'll tell them to pause.
Excellent. Now, so I do have to go, but look, dude, thank you so much for jumping on. I feel like this is going to be a work in progress, and we're going to have to come on again because I think we need to have something on the internet that exists that shows from start to finish how someone that's your age, and I'm not discriminating age, but like someone that's young that maybe doesn't have as much life experience, how they go from like the commitments they have to running an agency as a proper business, not just as, because I see this a lot too. They're like, oh, I'm getting 10 grand a month. I make 95% net profit. It's like, dude, then you're not doing service delivery right. You need to run these. If you want to have longevity in this space, it needs to run as a proper business. And it's catch-22 because how do you run it as a proper business if you have no experience doing it? So I feel like this is going to be a bit of a work in progress, and we'll just step by step through it. We'll face the challenges, and we'll get to the point where you're running a successful agency. That's the goal, right?
Yes. Thank you. I want to say truly, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I do appreciate it.
Of course, man. No, I've got you. I've got you. We'll get there, man. Excellent. All right. I will talk to you as soon as you've done the niche.